Hello everyone, I've got weekly mutation number 19 for you, and that is flipping out. Chaos reigns over the ritual of Rakshir. Enemies are not where they first appear to be, and your forces find themselves overcome with fear. Even your own perspective is warped and twisted. Maintain focus long enough for Janara to win the challenge. So this is on the Chain of Ascension co-op mission, and there are 3 mutations to go along with that. The first one being Vertigo, and that is your camera randomly changes positions, which is super annoying, by the way. The second one is Fear, and that is player units will occasionally stop attacking and run around in fear upon taking damage. And the third one is Evasive Maneuvers. Enemy units teleport a short distance away upon taking damage. Okay, so we've had Evasive Maneuvers and Fear before, but we have not had Vertigo. I believe Vertigo is a new mutator. I could be wrong, because I have missed one of the mutations, weekly mutations, but I believe it's a new one. And this actually could be one of the weekly mutations that the fans created as well. I'm not sure if that is this one or if it's going to be next week, but anyways, it was a pretty fun mutation. And once again, you have the full 185,000 bonus experience that you can get from beating it on up to Brutal difficulty. And we are going to be playing this on Brutal in this walkthrough, and I'm just going to quickly show you the skills that I have for mastery points. And that in the first power set I've got Black Hole Duration upgraded, second Time Stop Unit Speed Increase, and the third Chrono Boost Efficiency. Now something I want to talk about just really quick, Chrono Boost Efficiency, I didn't actually realize this before, but I mean, this is just something really obvious, because I was looking at Karax actually, and I just assumed Chrono Boost Efficiency was Chrono Wave Efficiency, not the actual Chrono Boost you get from your Nexuses. So this whole time I just kind of blanked on that. So yeah, Chrono Boost Efficiency, basically you increase the speed of Chrono Boost on any structure, especially at the beginning of your missions, so you're boosting your Nexus, and it'll definitely help you pump out more probes faster. So I definitely think Chrono Boost Efficiency is the best choice for Vorazun. It could be a little bit different for the other Protoss commanders, but I definitely think for Vorazun, getting those probes out faster, just gain a stronger economy is really helpful. So I'd advise you guys to do that one on Power Set 3. Okay, so we're going to hop straight into things. I am playing on the Asia server once again, and my teammate is the Big P. He's playing as Alaric. It's Alaric, everyone, not Alaric or Alaric. It's Alaric. Just want to make sure that everyone make sure to hear that I am now pronouncing it correctly. I was pronouncing it incorrectly before, so I've got that down. And as you can see right from the start, we already have the perspectives changing, the camera angle changing on us. And right away, I was a little worried about this camera angle changing, just because it actually was a little difficult to focus. But as you start getting back into the match, it gets, once you start getting into the match in the next 5 minutes, you're already used to it, because I think the camera angle only changes to 4 to 8 different positions. I'm not sure how many actual angles they change to, but yeah, it's pretty basic once you get used to it after a little while. And yeah, so once you're the other thing that I really do is I just look at the mini-map. So if I'm really lost, just peek down at the mini-map and look at where you actually are, and then that should help you kind of adjust to the movement of the screen. And then yeah, once you're used to the screen movement, it's just like a regular gameplay. I mean, the other 2 mutations really aren't that hard to deal with. Fear, I mean, and your units run away when they're damaged, and that only happens every now and then. And then the enemies teleporting away from you when they take damage. That, yeah, once again, that's a little annoying, but I mean, it's still not that hard to deal with. So I actually don't think that this weekly mutation is that hard, especially if you're playing with 2 really strong commanders like Vorazun and Alaric. So, I mean, first off, Alaric is hugely strong. I mean, he's one of the best co-op commanders out right now. I mean, you definitely, you gotta pay that $5 to get him, but he is so good. And then of course Vorazun is, everyone knows Vorazun is so good. She just has, you know, the Dark Templars. You can throw in some Archons to beef them up, and then you've got the Corsairs. which are those flying units that can drop their ability on the ground, disruption web, and that just deactivates, or not deactivates, but doesn't allow units to attack. And then you throw in a bunch of zealots to soak up minerals, and then some blinkers, or blinkers, stalkers, which have blink. And yeah, basically you just mass this huge army, and then it's just, you're unstoppable. Oh, and you have to throw in a couple of oracles at least for detection. But yeah, Vorzen's so strong, and everyone knows that because of the Dark Templars and the Time Stop ability. Time Stop's probably one of the best abilities that any of the commanders have. So there you have it. But yeah, right from the start, I'm just going to throw down these the Shadow Guard right away, because I don't want Janara to get pushed back any further than she has to. I would just want to start clearing out the middle, so both of my teammates and I can start expanding, because it is so hard to play on one base. If you guys did watch the last weekly mutation, it was a total pain in the butt. It was, yeah, you were on a budget the whole time if you stayed on one base, but it's definitely doable. But since we are not facing the same nuke challenges in this weekly mutation, we are going to go straight for the expansion. And it will be really easy to hold it. I think every single wave that comes at us in this playthrough is very easy to deal with. There's nothing out of the ordinary, really. So, yeah, just once again, I'm just going to start popping out these zealots. And I don't have a whole lot of gas income until I get my expansion. So I'm just primarily saving my gas for my upgrades. I'm going to be getting the ground attack upgrades right away, the melee. Well, not really, ground weapons level 1 right away, and then straight into level 2 and level 3. And then I'm also going to get the upgrade for the Dark Templars right away, which is Shadow Fury. And once again, that I always want to make sure to say this, Shadow Fury is definitely the most important ability, I think, my opinion, for the Dark Templars, because it allows those Dark Templars to jump from target to target, dealing damage up to 5 times. 5 hits, that is, and it deals 20 damage each hit. And if you're facing like Zerglings or some other light unit, it deals an extra 15 damage on each hit. So that's a huge one to get, and I always get that one first. And then of course, yeah, gotta make sure to get those ground armor upgrades and then the shield upgrades, because especially the shield upgrades, if you are going to get one or the other shields or armor, I'd always go for the shields, because both your air and your ground units are dependent on those shields. So that's a big upgrade to get. And then I will eventually get the air upgrades for the Corsairs. am doing that this time. I didn't do it last time, but because I am going to be getting the expansion, I'll have 2 bases. I'll have enough minerals to end up getting that. So I will get air weapons level 1 and air armor levels 1 as well, and then I'll get level 2 for both of those. But I run out of time, and I don't end up getting level 3 for the air weapons and air armor. So once again, I talked about this a little bit in the last weekly mutation. You really don't need these 2 upgrades, because the Corsairs don't do a whole lot of damage in the first place, and they don't really get targeted down, because a lot of the units tend to focus on your ground army. So I mean, you don't need to if you don't have enough minerals, but I mean, heck, if you have a surplus of minerals and gas and you're not spending it, get the upgrades. It'll help you a lot. And then my teammate's doing a really good job of moving out with Alarak, and he's really clearing out our main objective. Anytime those hybrids pop up, he's there. And then what I'm doing to just be helpful is I'll use Black Hole ability, suck up any of the units that he's attacking, and then I'll throw down my Shadow Guard also if he's really facing a lot of units at the same time. And then once we really start getting a bit bigger armies that we're up against, then I'll start using Time Stop. I'm just saving it for right now, because all of the units that we're facing are pretty quick to kill, and there aren't very many of them. So yeah, don't waste Time Stop. That's something that is valuable. It's so valuable. You gotta make sure to use that at the right time. And then as you can see, I'm already I'm also already saying at level 2 for the ground weapons, and I want to make sure to get level 3 quick here in a second, so I'm saving up. I'll have enough Vespene gas right about now. So hopefully I will make sure to click on the forge and start getting that. It's hard to... Yeah, there we go. Now I'm getting them. But yeah, sometimes when you're playing, especially with these camera angles distorting your thinking, you kind of forget about what you were about to do a second ago, and then you got to rethink it. But yeah, it's working out very well right now, and I think we are actually going to end up skipping the first bonus objective. Main reason I didn't go for it is because these hybrids just popped up, and if you let those hybrids sit for too long, then Janara is going to get pushed back so fast, and then you're just going to end up losing the match. So gotta be really careful about that. So yeah, we just dropped the bonus objective, and neither of us really had too much anti-air. I mean, my teammate's got like 4 stalkers, and he's got Alarak, but I didn't even have any stalkers. I think I only had 1 Corsair at the time, so that's about where, that's all I was sitting at. So no AA. Now I am still pumping out those Corsairs. I do need to start getting some Oracles. Like I said, detection is going to be important on this mission. They are going to have some of those, some burrowing units, so you have to be careful about that. Lurkers are the burrowing units that you really have to be careful about. Those guys will absolutely decimate your army if you leave like 3 or 4 of them just sitting right next to your army and you're not moving out of the way, or not paying attention, that is. And yeah, they get a couple of those spike moves in on your units, and eventually your units just disappear. I actually find that happens to me a lot on the Void Thrashing mission, because when you play up against Zerg, they almost always have lurkers sitting in front of the Void Thrashers. So yeah, if you don't have detection, your whole army is just gone in seconds. So gotta be really careful about that. Alright, so now we're starting to mass up a couple more units, and we're pushing Janara forward a little bit against Amon's champions. So this, so far it's going smoothly. But right now we are facing those lurkers like I was talking about, and I didn't even realize I had an Oracle. I was trying to find this lurker here, but I was thinking, okay, how am I supposed to attack him if I can't see him? But I did end up having Oracle, and I had detection. Eventually, I realized that the lurker is a little bit away, of ways away from my nexus. So I start moving out and start to get him. But yeah, so got that lurker down, and then I'm eventually going to start getting those upgrades for my zealots and stalkers as well, because I find out that, you know, I've got all these extra minerals, so I really need to start spending it more wisely. And the upgrades that you're going to want to get for those zealots is the first one, Shadow Guard, and this is allows Centurions to intercept nearby enemies and allows them to increase their movement speed when they're intercepting. And then the other upgrade that you're going to want to get is Dark Coil for the Centurions, and that allows them to stun nearby enemies, and massive units are slowed rather than completely stunned. So those 2 upgrades are definitely very helpful, and they'll improve your mass A move, which is one of my favorite things to do. Just select all of my units and then use the attack command. So that's definitely very helpful for that. And then the other 2 upgrades you're going to want to get, which are also from the Twilight Council. I don't think I mentioned that. Shadow Guard and Dark Coil are from the Twilight Council. So the other 2 upgrades in the Twilight Council is Blink and Phase Reactor. And then Blink, pretty much everyone knows what Blink is. That allows stalkers to teleport to a nearby target location. And then the other upgrade is Phase Reactor, and you can only get this upgrade after you get Blink. So that allows stalkers Blink to restore 40 shields over 5 seconds after use. So I mean, if you use Blink consistently, every single time the cooldown is done, then you are really going to regenerate those shields fast and really keep your army alive, keep those stalkers alive. I don't do a very good job of it, but I try to blank as much as I can when I'm paying attention, that is. So yeah, definitely stay on top of that. And then there are 2 upgrades for your Corsair that are really, really important to get. And the first one that I would advise getting is Stealth Drive. for your Corsairs, and that permanently cloaks them. And once again, Vorazun has an ability at, I think, level 15 it is, that you unlock, and it allows stealth units to do 15% more damage. So as soon as you get that permanent cloak ability on Corsairs, then they actually will start to do a bit more damage. But, I mean, as you can see, that Overseer that's just sitting in my base, that Corsair's attacking it, and it's just doing no damage to it. So it will help them do more damage, but it still is not much. Now, a thing to note about the stealth is, I mean, that's another thing that'll just help keep them alive longer. So there's that. But then the other ability, this one is a must. You don't need to get Stealth Drive, but Disruption Web is definitely a must. And that is the disabling ability I was telling you about. And it, for 10 seconds, it disables units. It disables units from attacking while they're in that energy web. If the enemies can move outside of this web though, but as long as you're focusing down these units, for example, attacking them, and they're focused on attacking back, then that's when the Disruption Web ability really comes in handy. If you just throw down Disruption Web on an enemy unit, it's just going to run away from the damage. So you got to make sure to have at least a Zealot or something attacking that specific unit. And then while it's attacking it, I mean, it's completely vulnerable to all of your damage. So definitely a really good ability to have. And then pretty much at this point, it's just a matter of using a little bit of teamwork and just massing up a bunch of units. We are really comfortable right now. We both have our expansions, and we're both getting upgrades, and we're both using really beefy, high damage units, and using our special abilities well. Like Alaric right now, if you can see, he just used his Empower Me ability, and he's got a ton of units right behind him. So that Empower Me ability really increases Alaric's damage. I can't remember what the number is. I think it might be 3 damage per unit. I can't remember what the number is, I'm sorry. But whatever it is, the more enemies you have, just your damage escalates. And it's huge. It's a huge multiplier. So, especially when you use your area damage ability, that area damage ability that Alarak has, sorry. The area damage ability that Alarak has is, it deals like 50 damage, I believe, in the target area, but you use it when you have Empower Me on, and I think like one time I've gotten it up to like 600 damage each time you do it, or like 700 damage, some absurd high number. And you can just one hit all the units in front of you with a normally really low area damage ability. So that's just crazy. And yeah, like I advise you guys when you're playing as Alarak is to just make sure to mass up units around him, and it's just gonna be so fun. So yeah, that's one of the best ways of playing him. And my teammate's struggling a little bit right now. I wasn't actually supporting him too much, so that was my fault. I was just really trying to get that bonus objective before we spent too much time on the main objective, because we already let one of the bonus objectives go. So it ended up working out though. So I came over and my teammate attacked at the same time as me, and we were able to finish out the last hybrids. And I even threw down a black hole, I believe. So yeah, once again, for those of you, I mean, most of you probably do know, but yeah, Black Hill, it allows you to suck in all of the units in the surrounding area into a black hole, and then while they're in the black hole, all of your units can actually attack them, and they can attack back. So that's a really huge, that's like a really, really good ability. And it's especially awesome when you're playing with Karax or Artanis, because they've got the Orbital Strike ability. And if either of them uses their Orbital Strike, you use the Black Hole ability. It's one of my favorite combos to do. I'll use the Black Hole ability, and then my teammate will just spew the Orbital Strikes straight into the Black Hole, and you just kill everything. Because, I mean, Orbital Strikes don't have that much area damage, but I mean, everything sucked into the same spot. So the Orbital Strikes just do huge amounts of damage and just kill everything right away. It's an awesome combo. And then yeah, pretty much we're just finishing up everything right now. We really only have the last little base that's right in front of the pit, the final push, and we're going to come into a little bit of trouble at the end here. This is where things start to get a little bit hectic, but you should make sure to keep on getting your upgrades. Right now I already have level 1 for the air weapons and the air armor, but I'm starting to get level 2, and I've really started to add on to my warp gate numbers. I already have 8 warp gates, and I'm going to, towards the end here, I'm going to start adding onto that hotkey. I should have around 12 to 13 warp gates, and I definitely think you guys should have more than 10 warp gates when you're playing as Vorzun, or pretty much any Protoss, especially Alarak. If you're playing the stalker method, it's really helpful to have more than 10 warp gates. But yeah, you get a lot of warp gates, and then if you lose units, or if you just simply want to max out your army quick, the more warp gates you have, the better, because you can mass warp in. And another big reason is I notice a lot of times when I'm playing, I don't have, I'm not a GM player. I don't have the perfect macro and micro, so I end up getting a huge surplus of minerals and gas a lot of times. But one of the best ways to soak up all of that extra minerals and gas that you have is to have a ton of warp gates, so you can just remax your army supply and then really drop the excess resources that you have. Okay, so what we're doing right here, perfect example. Use the black hole when there's a ton of enemy units right in front of you, and then Alarak, he used his area splash damage, and then also at the same time, as soon as the black hole was gone, my Corsairs had dropped their disruption web ability while the black hole was going, but it lasted after it had dissipated or disappeared. And then even after black hole was gone, those units were still deactivated or still weren't able to attack. So it was really, really good teamwork right there. But we really started to run into, like I said, we were going to start running into a problem. So here's the fault that we ran into. We got really excited for the main objective. We were like right there next to the pit. So we just let both of our expansions go. And the waves that attacked us were actually pretty big. There was a lot of Hydralisks, Lurkers, and Overseers. So, I mean, this is up to you guys. I think you definitely should go for the last push if your armies are big enough, because at the very end of Chain of Ascension, I definitely think they've made it harder since when it first came out, but at the end of Chain of Ascension, if you don't clear out these last hybrids that are stopping Janara from pushing the Amon's champion into the pit, they just keep coming back. Like, if you take too long to kill them, they just come back over and over and over. And I ran into that problem once or twice when I was playing with a random teammate on here. We would end up killing the champions at the very back of the pit, but we just didn't kill them fast enough. So literally we killed the enemies, and then they would respawn within a minute. And these enemy waves just kept on coming to our base, because every time we'd try and save our base, and we wouldn't actually push towards the main objective. And because of that, we would either lose or just drug on for like an extra 20 minutes. So it was like a 40-minute or 50-minute StarCraft time match. And you don't want to spend that much time doing a co-op mission. That's just not efficient. So sometimes you just do have to sacrifice your base. But, I mean, you don't have to if you're really good at playing and good at splitting up your units. But yeah, like I'm saying, we just really wanted to secure the win here. So we kept the majority of our army with the main objective. And yeah, we still got these nasty enemy waves coming at us. But there it is. We just pushed the champion into the pit. And there it was. GG. There he goes. Ooh, I hope Alarak proves to be a more fitting challenge. Did you hear that? Alarak just helped her. That doesn't make any sense. What the heck, Janara? Alright, we're going to get a ton of experience now. Over 200,000 once again. I'm going to get a good 5 levels off of this. almost 6. And then there's a couple good achievements. I'm just going to allocate my mastery points really quick here, and then that'll be it. So once again, I hope this weekly mutation was helpful for all of you guys, and if you have any questions at all, make sure to post them in the comments. I am more than willing to respond to you guys, so let me know what you guys think, and I hope you enjoyed this weekly mutation. It's definitely not one of the hardest ones, but these walkthroughs can definitely be helpful, or I hope they're helpful to you guys. So thanks for watching.